cameras here. All right, we're rolling, so make sure you don't cuss or anything. Like you normally do.
Dag nabbit.
Frickin'. Oh, that rabbit. Anything else before we get started?
I'm meditating. No, I think that's about it.
Okay. You sure? I mean, I can bring up some other topics if you
We
want.
can bring up something.
Yeah. Let me see if I can. I kind of like that. I think I'll leave it. You got all your... Yep, take a big sip of your sippy drink over there.
I got a child's sippy cup.
Looks like you got ball bearings in that thing.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yes.
Here we go.
And now for something special. The unit is self-contained with its own saddler, farrier, wheelwright and so on. It's a rigorous training dished on who know all there is to know about horses, and it brings results.
We take you behind the scenes now to show just some of the interesting aspects of this training.
Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine, the award-winning #1 podcast to create sound of horses from the ground up. Mike Stine is a registered journeyman farrier with an APF 1 accreditation. On this week's show, a horse named Clyde and his deformed foot. Also, a case study of x-rays of a horse named Downy, and a discussion of head carriage flexing at the pole and how it ties in with the horse's hooves. All this and much more will be discussed here on Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. And over to my far right side is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing good, Travis. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. You look dapper over there.
Dapper.
Yes, you were making fun of my outfit here. And don't forget, for every podcast we do, we have a matching video over on YouTube. Search Equine Dynamics Mike Stine, and you can see all the different x-rays that we have here on the show. We're also going to have a picture of Clyde's foot, which looks like it's totally weird looking. I don't know how this horse survived. So make sure you go over to YouTube and subscribe to Mike Stine over there. And you were making fun of my outfit. What'd you say? I look like I'm from Tennessee or something?
Tennessee, yeah, that'll work. Tennessee or Clemson.
I figured I would wear something bright and orange this morning to
Probably closer to a Tennessee orange.
to brighten your day. So
I don't know.
Is it brightening your day?
It is bright. You always brighten my day, Travis. Come
Oh,
on.
thank you very much. Well, I had a very brightening weekend.
Yes, I did too.
Did you? What'd you do this weekend?
What did I do this weekend?
You don't even remember. That's how it was.
I
So
slept since then.
Go ahead.
I got to go visit with our friend Richard.
Richard Malgrim, the long line guy.
Yes, I got to visit with Richard a little bit, and then I found out later you visited with Richard a little bit.
Yes, and that's why my weekend was pretty well good this morning, or this weekend. Pretty well good? Can I say that?
Pretty well good.
I'll go with it.
It was a lot more better.
But so you saw him in the afternoon, and for those of you who don't know, Richard Malgrim, he does the long lining with horses. It's all groundwork. And one of the speeches that he was saying when I was there in the afternoon, I don't know if he said the same speech in the morning crowd, but he says, people don't take my class to have a world champion long lining horse. People take my class to have more tools in the toolbox to help train your horse to be a champion at whatever level, whatever field that they end up going in.
Right.
Which made total sense to me, because I'm like, being the simpleton, I watch this horse go around in a circle.
You are simple.
Around in a circle, and he's got the long line, and I'm just watching it. I'm like going, okay, I don't get it. But once he says that, once he made that clear to me, I was like going, okay, well that makes a lot of sense. You're making the horse, this is another tool to use in your toolbox. But speaking of toolbox, one of the things that I had going on when I went to go see Richard, you saw him at the afternoon show.
Morning show.
Morning show. And you broke for lunch, or they broke for lunch.
For lunch, I went up to the arena and
Said, see you later.
Watched Client horse for a little bit, and then headed down the road.
And you were watching the client's horse just to get some feedback as far as what you were doing.
Right.
You're not sitting there just watching it for fun. You're actually working.
Right. Yeah. It's this horse was a little uneven in the back end, and decided what I got to do to help that situation out.
And did you get enough information from what you saw out there?
We're going to see next time I work on it.
So when I went out there, my wife goes, "Are you gonna come up for dinner? They're having hamburgers on the grill." And I go, "All right, hold on a second." I said, "Are you asking me to come up there and enjoy the experience of all your friends and everything at this event, or are you asking me, as a side note, do you mind, I know in the back of my head where it's coming, do you mind working the grill? Because, I mean, you have a bunch of ladies out there that have been in the hot sun all day long. They've been on the back of horses all day long. Richard's been out there as well. You've got one or two boyfriends or something. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with the second party of...
Who has other boyfriends? Was that Amy or somebody else?
No. Someone else had...
Okay. I got you. You said you had all those boyfriends.
Well, there are other husbands and boyfriends there.
Yes, got it.
But I don't know any of them, and basically all the women there, because it's all female riders, all the women there know me, but I don't know if they know any of the husbands. The reason why I'm saying this is because I was like, all right, I've accepted my duties. I'm going to go. I'm going to be the grill guy. I'm not going to be able to enjoy myself with everyone. You know, everyone's having drinks and cocktails, and everyone's having lunch and everything. I'm going to be stuck on the grill going, who needs another one? You know, looking around. But then I found out that one of the husband and wife team, they own their own processing plant.
Right.
They have cattle and they have chickens and they've got a couple other things they got. And they just butchered or processed a steer about 2 weeks prior. And I was like, the meat, the hamburgers that we were eating was from that steer. So I show up. I'm like, hey, everyone's like, hey, Travis, are you the guy from the Mike Stine podcast? I'm like, yeah, that's me. And they're, 50 million questions. What's it like? And blah, 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 blah. So then I see this little guy. I say little guy. I'm 6'2", depending on what 7-Eleven I walk out of. So he's a little shorter than I am, almost same height as you, Mike.
Right.
And he's on the grill and he's flipping burgers. So I kind of go, I've never seen this guy before. I kind of look around. I go, all right, cool. I wasn't introduced to him yet. I'm sure I will be shortly. Come to find out, this is the guy who actually processed the meat, and he's cooking his own meat. And I'm like going, perfect. It's his cow, it's his steer.
Right.
I would be nervous to cook this guy's.
Was the grill still up in the back of Grandpa's pickup truck?
No. It was down there by the washer.
Right.
So it was a relief because here's this guy who's done us a favor, everyone at this show, bringing all this ground beef and cooking hamburgers. I mean, this 2-week-old steer, 2-week-old.
2-week-old steer?
No, the steer was
young.
Processed 2 weeks ago. So this hamburger meat is straight from like 2 weeks ago. And I would be nervous. It's like handing a chef a piece of, $100 a pound Wagyu beef and say, here, cook this, Johnny. And I don't want to cook that. You spend all this time. You'd burn it. You make it a hockey puck.
Probably.
Flames shooting up. No, a couple more minutes. So I had a great time. Everyone asked a lot of questions. Everyone talked about you and talked about the show, and everyone had questions and everything. And I think there are some new people there. And through today's show, I'm going to talk about some of the new people that were there. And I think we gained some more new listeners. People came from Raleigh. People came from Mooresville. People from that I haven't seen before. So it was an interesting weekend. We had a great time. Fellowship was had by all, and Richard did a really good job.
He always does.
Communicating his technique.
Always learn something when I hang out there a little bit,
And you've known him for a while now.
Little while.
All right, guys. Well, stick around. When we come back, we're going to learn about Clyde and this deformed hoof that he has. And he's got some pictures of it, or Mike's got some pictures of it. So go over to YouTube right now, and you can see this in real time as we're talking about. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. Darling Donka Shane. I'm going to fix something real quick. Should I? I don't know. No, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it, and I'll fix it in post. You have no idea what I'm talking about, dude.
Not a bit. Don't care. As long as you know, I don't have to know anything.
All right, here we go.
Right.
Ready? Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine, brought to you by Equine One. Equine One with their natural hoof mender putty and also natural hoof dressing. As you can see, Mike.
Zoom in and zoom out.
You can see Mike's holding it up in front of the camera here. Get yours right now. Go to equine.one and get 10% off your whole entire order with the keyword podcast or Equine Dynamics. That's equine.one for all your hoof dressing care needs.
Right. And I've been using it a little more and getting great results.
Have you really?
Yes, I have.
Well, good. And is it because this time of year that you need to use that a little bit more just because of the conditions and stuff that we have going on? Or you're just coming across more cases that actually...
Just working in the program more and, under packings, under pads, this has been a really good deal as far as the foot coming out clean.
And that when you say this is a good deal, Mike, what you got to remember, we have an audio audience out there.
hoof mender.
Okay, the hoof mender putty.
The hoof mender. And I've also got more clients that are using the oil, and it is helping with the hoof wall as far as what's maintaining a good, healthy hoof wall.
That's a hoof dressing made by Equine One as well. All right, now, Mike. Sorry. Got distracted there. So now we're going to talk about a horse named Clyde. Now, how did we come across Clyde? And I'll pull up this picture here in just one sec. So
this was a situation where I was kind of asked at this point, it's been a little bit of a consult.
Now let me describe this horse. So the camera angle that we have on this horse, and this is the only.
It's a pretty foot.
Well, you've got a great shot on it, and it's ground level. The horse is standing in grass, and this hoof looks like, you remember in the 60s or in the 70s when the guys were wearing those platform disco shoes?
Right.
This looks like a long, tall platform disco shoe. I mean, it's got the nice mahogany look to it. It's got all the different grains and stuff. But this horse should not be wearing these platform shoes. Tell us what we're looking at.
No, it shouldn't. And if you look from the hairline down the toe, how short it is there, and get towards your way.
Oh, this way, I got it.
Right there. Very short from the hairline down to the toe.
Oh, this is the back of the foot.
That's the back of the foot.
Oh, my gosh. Look at that. I thought that was the front of the foot.
No, that's the back of the foot.
I'm all twisted
front of the foot. You are twisted.
Shows this horse's foot.
And, I've asked them to get x-rays. I have not heard back. I don't know where that went. As far as I understand, I think the vet has been out to shoot x-rays at this point. The discussion was, can you fix this?
Yeah.
And, you got a little stubby front of the foot.
You know what this looks like?
Heels are underrun.
You know what this looks like?
Right.
You ever seen the Guinness World Book of Records when you have the guy with the long fingernails just because he hasn't trimmed them in a very long time? Mm-hmm. This looks like the horse's hoof has not been trimmed in a very long time, and it's grown so long, it's kind of done that, what do they call them, elf feet type deal?
Well, that was an elf foot. It has been trimmed. But part of the problem is if you look at where that pastern set, it's set way out on the front of the foot. Coming into above the hairline. Mm-hmm. As far as where the pastern is very upright and very forward. So this was most likely a club foot of a fairly high degree. And with that pastern looks like it's standing straight up, you've probably got some tendon contractions and scarring and damage in the tendons. So as far as the position of the coffin bone, it's going to be more in a line with that very upper part of the coronary band, which means the tip's going to be aimed about straight down.
Ouch.
And as short as that foot is, how much erosion do you have to the coffin bone? How much damage do you have there? So could we put something on this foot and get this horse more comfortable to get around? Probably so. I've worked with stuff like this, and yes, we could. But it's like I explained to the owner, I said, you need to understand what's going on, and they're very worried about expense. I said, it's not, decide what's fair for the horse.
Right.
Is this really fair for the horse? Do the right thing for the horse.
How long have they had this horse? How long have they had Clyde?
They'd had him for a while. From my understanding, he's about 24 years old.
Okay. So he's a veteran.
And he had been into laminitis for some time, and they've had assorted people work on him. And, at this point, they were trimming the last trimmer. You can almost see the nipper marks around that toe. Mm-hmm. And that short, that is a very short foot, so there can't be a lot of depth under that coffin bone between there and the ground. It's got to be aimed down.
What's this ripple right here that I'm looking at? That looks like old, like if it's peeling its skin or it's shaved off.
That is some of your, I guess the periopic layer or whatever came down from the coronary band, and it's just flaking off.
Yeah.
But to try to realign this, we need to know what the tendon looks like. And even at that, put some kind of appliance on the bottom of the foot that would allow enough mechanics for him to get around and not put pressure on the tip of that coffin bone. But as far as trying to realign, you need to see what the joint alignment looks like. If that tendon is extremely contracted, the fact of realigning it may be out of the question.
So this horse right here is savable at the angle and everything that, well, without x-rays, you don't know.
There's a lot we don't know from this picture. Truthfully, this is not going to be something that is going to be, we can fix this. Could we do something to get him happier? There's not going to be a happy. Yes, we could. Yes, we can. Yes, I have.
And again comes the notion of, is that going to be fair for the horse?
Is this going to be reasonable for what you can understand, what you can do? Is this going to be, how can you maintain it? How long? How much is it going to be into your pocketbook? Because that is a definite consideration. And I've been involved in situations like this where each time you see the horse, can you give me 2 more weeks? And
why do they need 2 more weeks to
they just want 2 more weeks with the horse.
Okay.
And
before doing,
and this dragged on for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we can do a lot more than we ever have before. And can we get the horse more comfortably? Most likely, yes. Is there going to be a good outcome and a good quality of life? And I said, you really need to think about quality of life. And we're hoping the grandkids could probably ride it one day. And I'm like, I'm not betting on that one.
Now, what do the other feet look like? Are they in the same condition, or this is the worst?
That was the absolute worst one. The other front foot did not look that bad.
Okay. So this might have been something that he might have...
but this horse spent a lot of time on the ground right now and hopping around on that foot if it does get up.
And it makes me upset. It really does, Mike. You know, when you see people that, you know, hey, I've got horses, and people go, oh, you must have a lot of money to have horses. Well, it does take a lot of money to have horses. And then people who get horses are like going, oh, all you do is you feed them. They basically take care of themselves. And then you see situations like this where people go, you know what? You know, I didn't realize that, you know, the shoeing was going to cost so much. You know, the vet stuff I can do. I can, you know, do the deworming and all the other stuff. Because you can buy that over the counter.
Well, the other thing that came from this that I will say out there, that the owner, you know, when they contacted me, they found me online, said, you know, that we have used a lot of different people. The last person we had like 3 times, they're gone. You know, we've had 7 or 8 different people over the last couple of years come into work on them. They all said they knew what was going on and how to do it and all that. And from what I can gather, pretty much none of them worked with x-rays. And part of it is the owner didn't want to spend the expense. And I told her, I said, for me to get involved, I need a full vet workup and x-rays and everything else, because I don't go in on any of these deals without having all the information.
Especially that.
Yeah. And to be fair to the horse, you need to make some serious decisions here. And if you need to go through the full process to make the decisions for the horse, that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
But one of the things that came across was, we need to do this. We need to do it cheaply. And there's no cheaply involved in this deal.
Right. Well, with any horse, I mean, you could find someone that could do something cheaper, but you know, it's kind of like the mechanic. You know, you can have a $2 mechanic and you have a $200 mechanic. Who's going to make your car run better?
You can't pop a bolt off, take it off, put it aside, put another one back on.
Exactly. This is a little bit more detailed. All right, guys. When we come back, we're going to dive into a case study of a horse named Downy and all the different X-rays that Mike actually was looking at. And this is something that you might want to think of when you're talking about, you know, taking care of your horse and getting things done and looking at your horse and stuff, and the best care for your horse. So we'll dive in that when we come back. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back.
Yeah, that's one of those deals I've told people many times, that you need to sit down before you get in a serious situation and decide what is reasonable as far as care for a horse that's in trouble. As far as laminitis or whatever, before you get into it and the emotions get wrapped up in it.
How long did they have that horse?
The horse may still be alive. I don't know. Oh. And they apparently, if I'm remembering, they've had it for
probably bought it for the daughter.
I think it was one of those adopt or buy from one of these kill pen deals.
And then, you know, probably bought it for the daughter for, you know.
And there was a reason it was at the kill pen, yeah.
Yeah, 6-year-old birthday. And the daughter probably grew up with the horse. And now the daughter's, you know, the horse is 24 years old. The daughter's grown up and had kids. And they were probably wanting the horse to ride with the grandkids. But unfortunately.
I think there were hopes. Yeah,
there were hopes and dreams. All right, here we go. Get your stuff ready.
Oh, yes. I am at the podcast.
Hold on, let me get the cameras and everything rolling here.
People, I was in the middle of shooting horses. Oh, you're shooting. Oh, I am? Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Where am I?
All right, hold on. Here we go. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine, brought to you by Equine One. Protect, prevent, and maintenance products brought to you by Equine One. They're all Farrier recommended by Mike Stine and 100% natural. No petroleum fillers in these products. And that's the Hoof Mender, Natural Hoof Mender Putty, and also the Natural Hoof Mender or the Hoof Dressing. All brought to you by Equine.
And they've got some more products coming out.
Mike says they got new products coming out. I think Katie and Steve are over there working on new products over there.
They're getting stuff done.
And if you want 10% off of your complete order, go to equine.one. That's equine.one, and put podcast or Equine Dynamics in the little bar where it says checkout for a promo code, and you get 10% off your whole entire order. So check them out over at equine.one. Very good, Mike.
Can I put it down now?
You can put it down now.
Okay.
All right. And don't forget, Mike says, if you want to reach out to Mike Stine, you can go to equinedynamics.com. You can reach out to him at the top of the page. It says contacts, a little thing that says a little drop down menu. Click on that. Make sure you put a physical return address if you have a question for Mike, and we'll send you a little prize pack for being part of the show. And maybe we'll use your question on the air. And over to my far inside is Mike Stine. How are you? You're doing all right.
How am I? I'm doing okay. I'm here.
You didn't get a chance to have any of those hamburgers that we had?
I did not.
You didn't? What'd you have for lunch over there?
I wasn't there. Oh, they had some
salad,
some
fruit,
and they had some little wraps, chips. No burgers.
No, we had
They told me to leave.
We had the Wagyu at night, Mike. So
yeah, you had the Wagyu, and I had sandwich meat.
Yeah, you had the processed meat. We actually had quote unquote processed meat. So,
right.
So it was good.
It was processed.
So we appreciate Nicole and her husband over there for bringing those to the Richard Malcolm.
Yes, but
gear.
you didn't get all the preservatives. I won't rot when I die.
I'm gonna rot right away. All right. Now, talking about a horse named Downey, we have a case study, and Mike was talking about how important it is to look at x-rays. And the last case we had with Clyde, Farriers are gone out there, and you can look at the x-rays all day long, but if you don't know what you're looking at, you might as well be looking at a Picasso painting and trying to decipher what it is. Mike Stine has actually been skilled and taught and trained and worked side by side with vets to solve problems. And one of the things that Mike says is when he comes across a problem like Clyde with the sidestep foot there, the first thing he recommend, you guys heard that he says we need some kind of vet work done. And one of the things that a vet work would do was come out and take x-rays. Now, we've got some x-rays of a horse named Downey, and I'm going to switch to camera 6 here. And if you guys are all over on the YouTube page, you'll be able to see this in real time as we're talking about it here. Whoops, let me switch this screen here. I still got Clyde up there. Let's blow this up. And, excuse me. So we're looking at this. Now, this is really recently. This is June 21st. You just had these done.
Right.
And this is 2:45 in the afternoon. You can see it right here on the x-ray. So
I saw them at 2:46.
Yeah. So you're right there in the waiting room waiting for these to come out.
So just chomping at the bit. Foam running out the side of my mouth, had rabies look like and all that. Yeah, all excited about it.
So what are we looking at here? This is Downey. So what side
of this is Downey. This is to the left or the right.
They cut the portion off.
Anyway, this was a horse that I was approached with to look at because someone is looking to buy this horse as a performance horse.
Okay, before we get started, I'm going to use my professional osmosis from you, professional opinion on this horse, and see if I can dictate what's going on here. Now, I can see this horse has got a shoe on. I can see all the nails and everything. Mm-hmm. It looks like it's almost pretty lateral to the ground, pretty level. Mm-hmm. I see the coffin bone is almost the same level, parallel to the ground, maybe a 2.5 degree tip forward.
Yeah, I don't think you got that much tip forward.
Okay, maybe less than that, but it is almost level. I was giving them a degree or two.
Yeah, you got to,
And I'm looking at the bones. I don't know what the names of the bones are. I haven't learned all those yet.
Bob, Ralph, and Linda.
But I'm looking at it here. Let me use my cursor. I'm looking at here, and
coffin bone.
It looks. There's the coffin bone. What's this?
Short pastern.
Short pastern and the long pastern. So it looks like they are pretty much almost lined up right above the center of the foot. So in my opinion, in my opinion, Mike, I can see that the horse hoof might be a little bit more forward than we'd like, but in my opinion, this is an almost perfect X-ray. Am I right or wrong?
If you wanted to be perfect, I'll let you say that. Yes.
Well, if it was perfect, we wouldn't be talking about it here on the show. But here we go. So, Mike, what am I looking at here?
The good thing is the beam was probably put right on the bottom edge of that coffin bone because we don't see two wings of the coffin bone. If you look at the joints and you start at the pastern joint, which is, well, let's go with the coffin joint. It's kind of broken back there, a low palmar angle. When you pull down on the low palmar angle, it can actually stand the pastern up a little straighter. So then you move up to the pastern joint. Well, there you go. And if you put a line through the center of those bones, you've got a broken back axis at the pastern joint.
That's what I was saying. It didn't look. That's what I was trying to say, Mike. That
Yes.
it didn't look
That's
like
exactly what you were saying.
Well,
yes.
It didn't look like it was straight up and down, but it was pretty darn close.
Right. So you would like a little more slope in the pastern. But the thing of it is, as far as tendon pressure and all that, what's going on with the pastern, that foot will be pulled back under the shoulder.
Okay.
And, right, when they load. And
let me know when you're ready for the next picture.
you're not going to get the shoulder moving as freely as you should at that low angle.
Okay.
They'll kind of lock up.
All right.
And let's go to the next picture.
Next picture. So this is the back shot of it.
Yeah.
Same foot.
Front to back.
Now I can tell. Hold on. Let me use my professionalism here. As far as being the host of this show, this right now it looks like it's leaning towards. I'm just saying because we're looking at it here. It's leaning to the right a little bit. The hoof looks like it's out to the left a little bit, and it's not straight up and down. It's got probably a 15 to 10 degree angle to the east.
Right.
Put it that way.
Yes, and you're actually looking at this foot from the front to the back.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is a front leg.
Right.
If it was a hind leg, they would put the plate in front of the foot for shoot from the back to the front.
Okay.
A lot of times. Some would. So it depends on the horse. Sometimes the horse you can't get up under them.
So traditionally that's
the X-ray unit.
So traditionally, without any notations on here.
Every vet's going to do a little different. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if, when you look at the front foot, you always go from front to back. And when you look at the back feet, you always go from the back to the front.
Yeah. You'd depends on where you put the generator and, your plate.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
what are we looking at?
This the joint spacing is not terrible from what I'm seeing in the pastern joint, and with the alignment,
it's a little off.
It's a little off, but we all are, and some of that can be corrected with trim a little bit, not a huge amount.
Oops. I hit something.
Yes, you did. Am I going to have to teach you how to use the
yes, Mike,
the high tech equipment?
I need you to help me use the electric photo box here.
The electric photo box,
right?
When I get my hammers and stuff pulled out, I'll get to show me how to
All right.
That way I won't do it wrong.
So where did we leave off now? That I clicked the picture and
brought it down to there's a little bit that we can do on the medial lateral balance with the trim, and. The deal is they're looking for a performance horse. What I understand, they're looking for this horse to go to the dressage arena.
Okay.
Now, they did a nice, neat job of nail driving, and they got them right even.
Nice. They look all very uniform.
Yeah, they look very uniform. I wish I could drive a nail that uniform because,
They probably had a pass load using it.
Right. But they did a nice job on the nail driving for sure. But we can go on to the next one.
That's the next one.
It is the next one.
I can go to this one.
Okay.
Let's do this one.
Excuse me. Let's do that one.
All right. So this is the opposite side.
Okay, the opposite side.
Same foot.
No.
No?
No. No.
What foot is this one? Oh, this is the other foot. Okay.
Okay. What do you see?
This one is a little bit more straight up and down like I thought the other one was. But the coffin bone is actually pointed more downward to the ground than the other foot was. So this one looks like he's not tippy toes, but he's a little bit. This looks like a perfect X-ray to me, Mike.
Okay.
No, not so much.
Well, look at where the pastern is coming down. If you look at the front of the hoof capsule, and how much indentation you have to where the pasterns put down. The pasterns start to shift forward a little bit in the hoof capsule. And look at how the shape of the bulb of the heel is up top. Okay? So depending on how you're grading a foot, this could start getting into leaning towards that low-grade club deal. So maybe just to call it a high-low, because people get upset if you say that.
I think I've been to many of those low-grade clubs.
Yes, you've been to a lot of... I could see you as a low-grade club kind of fella.
Right.
Really, really low-grade. But, okay, there again, shoulders on the low-slung foot, shoulder on this foot. And this is one of those discussions I have because this is to be a performance horse. Most likely, the one on this side, the point of the shoulders rolled over and forward.
Now, is this a performance horse now, or they're looking to make this a performance horse?
Well, it is a performance horse now.
Okay.
It's working in dressage. If you look down the tip of that cough bone, it's hid behind that nail. So is there any damage on the tip of that cough bone? Can't really tell. The wings of the coffin bones are nice and level. So they probably shot right across the bottom of that coffin bone with their focal point.
And that's what you want.
Which is kind of what I want right there. Decent amount of depth, best I can tell. If you look at the thickness of the sole under the tip of the coffin bone, and you look at the thickness of the dorsal wall.
How many millimeters do you think that is right there?
Let's go with 12. I don't know.
And that's a good number to
12,
have.
15.
12, 15 is a good number to have.
Ideally, I'd like to see on most riding horses 15 plus.
Okay.
It's not 5 or 7. It's a healthy enough amount.
It's in the safe zone.
Fairly safe zone, yes. Nothing's safe.
Not with horses.
So if this is a little bit of a club, and what the shoulder does with the club, it kind of rolls over. The point of the shoulder drops. And if you look at that point into the point of the shoulder on that horse, if that side is set lower, because of that, it stands the pastern up more. And then the shoulder angle a lot of times will collapse, so the top of the scapula will be lower. When you look at where the brachiocephalicus muscle connects, it's between the shoulder and the elbow joint. And that's the muscle comes up the side of the neck and it ties into the back of the skull. So that on its own can pull the head a little one side out of carriage if you're at a horse trotting out supposedly in a straight line. It can also tip the head. And then you got to, okay, is the rider's hands, how consistent is the rider with the hands? And if the horse is that uneven in the front end, what's going to happen in the back end? So as far as the horse trotting out straight lines, giving good performance, pushing evenly off the back end, can we work with this? Yes. Are we going to be chasing it through the horse's career? Yes. Later in career, can it be a problem? Yes.
When you were out this past Saturday and you were talking to Richard and hanging out with him, you saw all the different horses that he had on there. He had like...
I've objected to looking at the horse. The horses that I watched when I was there were client horses.
Right.
And I need, since that was going on, I could take a look at them working in the lines without the rider on top, which I kind of like looking at them that way because things are going to look different with or without the rider. And how much effect can I have? How much is horse, how much is rider? Because when I see this horse with the rider, and there again, if I put a skilled rider on the horse, which is Brett the trainer, versus the owner, that's going to be a different horse with Brett as it is to the owner. Now, I got to figure out what I'm working with and how I can do best for the horse when I'm paying attention to the mechanics of the situation. So it's kind of good to see a bare horse work. And that's not a completely bare horse because it is in the lines. It's not like trotting around the field having fun. But that is a good indicator of where I am with things. And our I call him Casper because that's not his name, and it's close enough. But he has really come along with that back end. We had to back up on some things I was doing and say, we need to readdress this a couple of shoeings ago. And as far as the definition of the back end, it was a good move to back up and address it. And it was something that between a workup with the vet and, Brett came to me about that because, I was paying attention to what, when, and where, and ifs that had been in front of me, the direction we were going. And some of the information from the vet said we needed to back up and readdress in a little bit different direction. And as far as the way the horse was working and the development changes, it was definitely a positive.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick little break and come back, and we're going to discuss the head carriage and the flexor at the pole and how it deals with the horse's hoofs. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine, brought to you by Equine One with their 100% natural hoof. Mike, you're moving around. I can't read it. 100%. I know I should have it memorized by now. 100% natural hoof mender putty and also natural hoof dressing. Mike has been using this. He's been using it on his clients' horses and getting great feedback on it. So if you want to try this product as well, you can do it right now at a discounted price by putting podcast or Equine Dynamics in the promo code when you check out. That's over at equine.one. 100% natural hoof dressing and hoof mender putty. So check that out over at equine.one. Good job, Mike. You have a little bit more
galloping.
You have a little bit more fun with those than you ought to be. Now we're going to talk about what's not fun is
your horse has to have good feet on it to gallop. This will help.
That's right. So what we're going to talk about right now is the head carriage, the flexing at the pole, and how this ties into the hooves and the hoof movement.
Right.
So when we're talking about the flexor at the pole, what's the pole, and where am I looking at for the pole at?
Which pole? The one that holds your flag on?
The one that never mind. I was going to say something. I was going to say the stripper that no.
Where is your mind?
I'll cut that out. Don't worry. Cut that. I'll put this in there to cut it out. All right.
The pole.
The head carriage. I know. I got you all sideways now.
Right. That doesn't take much. Spend most of my life sideways. But directly behind the skull. Where
and make sure you're watching Mike over on the YouTube channel. Go search
describe something.
Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine over on YouTube.
You've got the neck.
Uh-huh.
You've got the head. Mm-hmm. When I'm talking about breaking at the pole, I'm talking about flexing here as opposed to the neck flexing.
Okay.
Does that make any kind of weird sense?
To someone out there, I'm sure it does.
We'll make butterflies and rabbits and...
You know what you need to find, Mike? You need to find, this is what, if anyone out there has one, let me know. Or if you see one, you physically need, you ever seen those wooden dolls that are like, they're faceless, where people make dresses and stuff on the wooden dolls?
And they stick pins and needles.
No, not those. But they need to come up with a horse model that can physically move to show, like, bent angles and stuff like that. Your horse should look like this.
They've got one.
Where's it at?
Remember Gumby and Pokey?
Yeah. So I don't think that'll work, but it'll give you the same idea.
Right.
Maybe I'll buy one of those and bring it in the studio. Mike can use that as a replica. But some kind of teaching tool that's, handheld, that you can put up here on the camera and maybe work around with. I'm going to find one. And we'll bring it on the show. Anyway, so back to what we were talking about. The bending at the pole, the flexing of the hole. Or the pole.
The flexing of the... Yes. The flexing of the pole.
Of the pole.
And then the overflexed. Mm. And then is the horse ridden into the hand, or is the hand pulled back into the horse? I don't know what I'm saying.
You want to start over?
We'll say it anyway. Yes.
Start over. So we're gonna talk about the head carriage and the flexing of the pole and how it affects the hoof. So go from there.
Right. I watch horses all the time, and people are trying to get the horse to flex at the pole. So is it flexing at the pole, or are we breaking it at the pole? Meaning, which direction is the force that gets the pole to flex coming from? Is it coming from the back of the horse through, and the horse is coming up and lifting into it? Or is somebody saying and pulling them in? Completely different deal. When you watch a horse, if a horse comes up from the back end and flexes into it, you get much better extension, And if you're watching that timing between front and hind legs, when they're trotting, watch that cannon bone on the hind leg in the timing with the forearm, the forearm, the diagonal forearm. They should be in good rhythm, good timing, good positioning with each other. If they're lagging in the back end and not coming through, the cannon bone is not coming to the same angle as your forearm. And, I get people that will show me videos of horses and they're like, oh my God, look how beautiful. And there's all this big action on the front end. And their leg moving. And the shoulders are locked. If the shoulders are locked, the forearm comes up. And the people kind of like that look. It comes up high, it's big maneuvering and all that kind of deal. But the hind end is not keeping up with the horse. When a horse is moving like that, it creates a lot of impact. If a horse is coming through and they're driving through from the back end, that leg's coming through matching your forearm, and they're lifting themselves from behind, their impact on the front end is a lot lighter, and you have a lot less crushing at the back of the foot. So, and then you throw the saddle in there and everything else tied into it.
My wife and I were watching a show on Netflix called it was called Damsel, and it's got Millie Bobby Brown in it. And there's a scene in there. It's about a prince and a princess and a dragon and all this other stuff. But one of the scenes is they get on a horse for the first time. Well, together for the first time. They go, "You ride?" "Yes, I ride." And they take off across this field. And I'm sitting there with my wife, and I'm watching the horses, and I go, "Are they riding right? Does that look right?" She's like, "Yeah, everything's fine, but they're holding the horse back."
Right.
And I said, "What do you mean they're holding the horse back?" She's like, "Look at the head." And you were talking about the flexing at the pole.
Right.
They had the horse's nose almost pointing straight down, but running at top speed across this field. She's like, they need to let that horse open up so it can stretch its whole entire body out.
Exactly.
And I was like, well, why do you think they did that in the movie? She's like, I don't know, but it's not good for the horse to run like that, staring straight at the ground and running at full speed.
Right. And you get when you're watching horses trot out and you get a false extension, if the horse is extending out and their nose is tucked back, if you remember the German march?
Yeah. The goose stepping?
The goose step. That's kind of what's happening. And they're reaching out and they extend, and then the foot drops back to hit the ground, as opposed to it's extended out and moving forward and hitting the ground. When you get that drop back and hit the ground, you're just slamming joints, tendons, and ligaments.
Just making a whole mess.
And they're like, but look how big and flashy, but they forget about the back end of the horse. And I always talk to people, I said, oh, look, watch this video, then take your hand and cover the front half of the horse. And you tell me how that horse is moving solely looking at the back end. Because if that back end is not there, it's a false extension. And the back is dropped, and you're beating up your suspensories along with everything else.
You're going to blow a muffler.
Yeah, exactly. So the key to getting good performance is the engine has to run properly, and the back end has to carry the horse. You want them light on the front end, back end has to be under them. And that falls into everything involved. If a horse is lifting up, you have less impact. If a horse is dropping in the middle, you're going to get a lot of impact.
Not good.
Not good.
All right, guys, stick around. When we come back, one more little segment, and we'll wrap up the show of what we learned. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine, brought to you by Equine One. Protect, prevent, and maintain. Sorry, I'm reading the signal over there.
This is it.
Protect, prevent, and maintain 100% natural, no petroleum fillers in their all-natural hoof mender putty, and also a natural hoof dressing.
If you get it on, you're not wearing a bunch of weird chemicals.
Yeah, so you're not worried about that. And plus, if you've got like small animals or something like cats and dogs and stuff, and you drop a little bit of this on the ground, you're not going to be too concerned about it. Of course, you don't want to take a spoonful and put it over your cereal, but still, you're a little bit...
For you, we could.
Well, I'll take the hoof mender putty over a thing of cornflakes.
Right.
So go to Equine Dynamics. Go to equine.one to get 10% off your order right now by putting in the keyword podcast or the word Equine Dynamics. That's equine.one for all your hoof dressing care needs. Thank you, Mike.
Yes.
And if you have a question for Mike Stine, go to equinedynamics.com. Top of the page says contacts. If you want us to perform a clinic out at your location or this podcast from your location, if you got a barn full of horses, you got an event, special event, occasion, something going on, you want us to come out there and be part of that, go to equinedynamics.com. At the top of the page says contacts, or I'm sorry, says clinics. Fill out that little form there, and we'll come out there and do this show right at your location, just as we see it here in the studio. And over to my far hand side is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing good. I am doing very good.
All right, so what did we learn today, Mike? Today we learned about a horse named Clyde that looks like he had those disco boots on.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm going to switch the camera.
Right?
Let's go back.
There's Clyde.
No, that's
not Clyde. Who is Clyde?
I don't know who that guy is either.
Ah, Lord.
This guy, where is he at?
Where did he go?
I don't know. I'll find him here in just a
You swap programs.
I did swap programs. Let's go here, and then we'll go here. Here's Clyde.
Right.
So tell us about Clyde and his platform shoes.
Clyde has gone down a hard road, and some decisions need to be made. But, at this point, it's time to do something, right?
Right.
Early on, some things could have gone a lot different. And just like the owner said, I kept calling people that said they knew.
And they didn't know.
And ask Clyde.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that somebody didn't have their own ideas, because they do. But look where Clyde is at this point. Early on, look for research. Go out there and hunt for some real information. And on these kind of situations, I always refer to Doc Redden. And find some people that have been if you're dealing with this kind of horse, you need to be very serious about it, and you need to be very educated about it.
And you have to be smart with it, as far as these people said financially they didn't want to do it, so maybe they should say, instead of having 15 people come out saying, okay, what's best for the animal.
Sometimes you need to do the right thing for the animal. And
unfortunately, but
flip-flopping from one to the next. And
it's basically you're bringing 15 people out to find someone to give you the right answer, the answer that you want that's going to cost the less amount of money. No, I don't like your answer. I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm going to get a second opinion and a third opinion.
And I think in a situation like this, somebody comes in, I'm going to fix it. It goes bad, and it's like they just leave.
Yeah, exactly. And also a case study talking about X-rays and stuff. A case study of Downey. Oh, why do I have this guy on here now?
Who is this guy?
I don't know.
Was he cooking hamburgers?
He was cooking hamburgers. And a case study of Downey, and these are the X-rays that Mike is so prevalent that knows a lot about X-rays and how to read them and stuff. Not like me, because I think these look good. These look like good X-rays compared to what we've seen in the past.
Oh yeah, yes, they really are better than a lot we've seen, and they're shot pretty well.
But to the trained eye, you can tell what's wrong with this. As to me, the untrained eye would go, that looks perfectly fine to me.
But this was presented to me because it was a horse that would come to one of the trainers I work for if it was purchased. At this point, it's not purchased. And they want this to be a performance horse that's going to climb the ranks in the dressage arena. Can we do something with this horse? I've got horses out there that are worse alignments than this. And yes, we can help them out, and yes, we can work with it, but it's going to be a constant chase. And part of what you got to think about is longevity, because it takes a lot to build a good performance horse.
Oh, don't I know it? I mean, my wife she's on.
You don't know yet. You're just starting to.
Well, she's got a couple of horse shows coming up here in the next 60 to 90 days or so. So.
Right, and when he is into his mid to later teens and still performing, just think about how much money you would have in your pocket if you'd never seen a horse.
I know, exactly. And so most of these X-rays right here, especially this one, Mike with his trained eye knows exactly what is going on and how to help this. Me, I can say it looks like it's leaning to the right a little bit, to the east side of the photo, but
right.
But Mike's trained eye, and that's what you're looking for in a farrier that can read and work side by side with your vets. And let's go back to us right now. And then also we talked about the head carriage, the flexing of the pole, and how it affects the hooves.
Right, and part of what brought this about was A, watching Richard, B, a discussion with a good friend of mine who is a very skilled farrier who works on a lot of dressage horses, and they've got a horse that's being shown. The problem is it's being scored well enough in the arena, and they don't think there's a problem. But he says this horse is way overridden on the front end, and they're like, you need to fix his back end. And when the horse is forced in on the front end that much, you know, he has a lot of talent as a farrier. Don't get me wrong. I know he does. But you can only do so much, and sometimes you can't get past the monkey on their back.
All right, guys, on that note, make sure you follow Mike Stine over on Facebook. Search Equine Dynamics Mike Stine. And Mike, like I said, posts a bunch of different articles up there, a lot of educational articles. And if you want to check those out, follow him over on Facebook. Make sure you watch him over on YouTube. That's Equine Dynamics Mike Stine over on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe over there. Show him some love and show him some support. And you can see all the different videos and x-rays and pictures and everything that goes on here in the studio. Mike standing up, bowing his head left and right, trying to pretend he's a horse. You can see that over there as well. And make sure you subscribe. And if you have a question for Mike Stine, go to equinedynamics.com and fill out that little form. And make sure you put a return address, and we'll send you out a little prize pack for you as well. On behalf of, that's going to do it for this week, guys. On behalf of Mike Stine over there.
Thank you. Have a good day, and look up Equine 1.
My name is Travis, saying see you next week.
Close your eyes and dream. All of the doggies are in the
There you go.